7 must-have skills every foreigner must develop if they want to prosper in the continent of Africa. For those of you that don't know, my name is TJ, and coming from the UK, I've set up a business in Uganda, Africa. The goal is to build a lifestyle on my own terms. I put everything that I'm doing on this channel, and if you're interested in maybe doing the same, you know what to do. The first skill that you must develop if you're coming to the continent of Africa is the art of negotiation. Whether you're at a local market buying food, whether you're getting a taxi, whether you're buying something in a mall, anytime you need any kind of service or product, you need to negotiate. If you don't, you'll end up paying the highest price, especially as a foreigner. Not only that, if you're an entrepreneur and you're coming to Africa to set up a business, people are going to negotiate with you for your products and services. So it pays to be good at negotiating. It can be intimidating, frustrating, annoying if you're not used to it, where every time you need something, you have to enter into this back and forth of negotiation. But you need to shake that off, get confident and get good at it. If you practice something enough, anxiety around doing it will disappear. Here is a tactic that I use whenever I'm negotiating. I always push the onus on the other person to try and name a price first. It might go something like this. What are you charging for this? What does this cost? Or if it's the other way around, what do you want to pay? What is your budget? Whatever their answer is, it doesn't matter. Your job is to look disappointed and frustrated, like, is there anything you can do better than that? The game has now begun, and then they will likely lower their price, and then you'll go back and forward, meeting somewhere in the middle. Understanding the product or service that you're buying is key. Whenever I order a boarder, which is the locally used motorcycle taxi in Uganda, I always negotiate very hard, and I'm always willing to walk away because there are just so many people offering the same service right there and then. Also, in my business, I've set up a situation where I am the only one with my product. It's branded to me. I have total control over price. What this means is there is not another option for someone to go away and get a lower price for my product. If they want the product from me, they have to pay the price I'm willing to make. I also know because of this bargaining tactic that everyone uses, I have to raise my listing price so that when we bargain, I can come down to a price that still works for me. I would say 9 out of 10 people that enter my store always ask me the same question. What is the last price? I often wonder if I make another business in Uganda, I will call it, this is the last price. This, again, is trying to put the onus on me to name my price so that they can cut below it. I always try and put the onus back on them. Well, what price do you think it's worth? What do you want to pay for this? What's your last price? Every so often, you come up against a really hard negotiator that is also trying to make you name your price first. Sometimes it's easiest just to go ahead and let them do this. If you're going to name your price, make sure you name your price high, giving you plenty of room to negotiate. I think everyone understands that, but in the moment, they want to see you fold under the pressure. So don't be scared to name a high price. It's very unlikely that you will offend them. Why? Because this is a game. When I first started getting involved in this type of negotiation, I would take it personally when the people try to price gouge me. People say, you're killing me, this. As soon as the deal is done, they'll be smiling, they'll be your friend, and it's just like a game that they play that everyone plays, and I'm convinced many people enjoy this game. If you're interested in the idea of coming to Africa, possibly to live and lay down roots, I've set up a free weekly email newsletter. You'll receive up-to-date insights to help guide you and avoid any pitfalls in your journey of discovery into the motherland. The link is in the description. Sign up. Next skill that you must cultivate if you're coming to the continent of Africa is your entrepreneurial mindset. There are just so many opportunities out there. And if you know anything about successful Africans or people that have come and had success on the continent, they usually have more than one revenue stream. For example, I know of a successful lawyer. He has his law practice, but he also owns several businesses. These are shops of different types that are situated all over the city of Kampala. He partners with people, he sets things up, he puts things in place, and he generates little bits of revenue from multiple streams. So it's your job as someone in Africa to look for revenue streams. And trust me, the moment you land, you're going to see them everywhere. Why? Because Africa is a place of inefficiencies. Things take a long time, things are slow, and you've had the benefit of being outside of the continent of Africa, maybe in the West, in America, in UK, and you know how things can run efficiently. There are business ideas that you can literally bring from the UK straight into Africa that don't yet exist. Or if they do exist, they're not done in a high level. The only thing I would say about this approach is you must stabilize one business before you move into another. It's no point in starting 10 projects at once. Stabilize one, make sure that's solid, then you move on to the next, stabilize that, make sure that's solid. Also, there are many people that are capable, but they don't have capital, they don't have certain opportunities, and you can partner with them. You have to be careful, you have to do your checks. There are many people that are there to scam you, for sure. But there are hardworking and honest people that are looking for partners, looking for investors to make their business grow and ultimately bring revenue into both of your pockets. The next skill that you need to develop in the continent of Africa as a foreigner is health and safety awareness. You must become streetwise. You must understand your surroundings. In Uganda, for example, it's not a good idea to get a motorcycle taxi, a border late at night and you don't know the driver. I myself have had a few people attempt to pickpocket me in the town centre. That means that now I often wear my backpack on the front, I'm checking my pockets, I like pockets with zips, all of these kinds of precautions. Yes, it's obvious stuff, but you must be aware and adjust to this circumstance. The other thing you need to do in regards to health and safety is understanding your medical needs. It is required by the government for you to enter Uganda, you must have a yellow fever jab, but I would recommend other jabs as well. For example, typhoid. I caught typhoid in the first couple of weeks in being in Uganda. It was not fun at all, trust me. So your healthcare must be a focus. Do you have insurance? Do you know where the hospitals are? Do you know where the appropriate clinics are? Your health and safety awareness is key to keeping you fit, healthy, alive, and not having hefty hospital bills when things go wrong. The next skill that you must master if you're coming to the continent of Africa is cultural adaptability. I've already made the point about negotiating. That's kind of a cultural thing. But what I'm really getting at here is, can you learn the language? Can you learn some words and phrases that are going to help facilitate ease in your day-to-day life? There's many cultures in Africa, for example, where there is a significance between using your right hand and your left hand. In my father's culture, you never hand anyone anything with your left hand. You always use your right. And I found something similar happening in Uganda. I want to show respect to Africa. I want to show respect to the people I negotiate with. I want to show respect to the people I encounter on a day-to-day basis. I want to make sure that I understand the social norms so I don't inadvertently offend someone or create a persona about myself that I didn't intend. I suggest you do the same. The next skill that you must develop and master if you're coming to the continent of Africa is problem solving and innovative thinking. You are going to get slapped about with problems all day long. Problems that I've never encountered in situations that I've never encountered is a common thing. Doing your best to think on your feet and having a stoic mindset, not dwelling on problems, but going straight to a strategy for solving that problem. You're going to have to be creative if you're setting up a business on the continent. You may have to do more with less. You may have to learn a new system, but being able to problem solve, relax your mind, you're not letting emotion cloud your judgment in the decisions you make is very important when you're in the continent. The next skill that everyone needs to have if they're coming to Africa is networking. This is very key. Africa is very much a who you know, not what you know kind of place. The people that get things done often have their guy on the inside. So talking to people, connecting, figuring out who they are, being friendly and open is a big skill to cultivate. In many African countries, there are people like you, foreigners, that have a community. That's another great place to network. Breaking into these social circles is great for business. It's great to be able to call on a community whenever you need help. But also, you must be a pillar of that community. You must contribute and provide value to. The next skill that everyone needs to have if they're coming to Africa is financial literacy. The first thing I'm going to talk about is just really understanding the currency. The local currency you grow up with, dollars, pounds, euros, is probably firmly embedded in your mind, and you've built up your value system around that pricing. Some things correlate well, but other things don't. As we speak right now in Uganda, 100,000 Ugandan shillings is about $25. A little bit more, a little bit less, but it's about $25. That is a good piece of arithmetic to hold in my mind. I know if something's 10,000 Ugandan shillings, that's about $2.50. I know if something is $1,000, that's about 25 cents. So I can do quick maths when I'm negotiating, when I'm figuring out pricing without having to whip out my phone and do a conversion in front of everybody. This is the first part of financial literacy. The second part is understanding the infrastructure of money in the place where you are. I just made a video about cryptocurrency in Africa, and it is the way that I store my money free of any banks, governments, or out of reach of anyone else other than myself. It's inflation proof, and there are many agents all over Uganda that can help me transfer that money into cash anytime I need it. Aside from that, in Uganda, there is mobile money and there are bank accounts. So you need to understand all of those things, how they work, what the fees that are associated with all of those things, so that you can be ready to facilitate, to pay, to transfer, and never find yourself in a situation where you're outsmarted or caught out because of something to do with money. In fact, if you want to go more in depth on that subject, I suggest you watch this next video coming up right now.